Hello viewer, welcome to Chapter by Chapter, a map and level design review series where I go over each map in Golden Deer Maddening. Last time we took a look at Chapter 16 and my closing thoughts were that this was among my favorites. Chapter 17 is a pretty well-known chapter. The big ol' clash. So let's see what there is to say. Holy Naga, we made it. Gronder Field. You would think that such an iconic map would be fun, but it is so not fun. For me, this is all my opinion, even though I'm about to say a hot take. This is just my opinion based on my personal experiences of Gronder Field. It is the least enjoyable map to play in this route. When it's easy, it's really easy. When it's difficult, it feels unfair. The map is somehow both really exploitable and sometimes impossible to manage. But all in all, there are two central reasons why I don't like this map. Let's go through both. Three Houses' inconsistent use of area-based event triggers and reinforcements. So thank Naga that this series updates like once every 2 weeks, otherwise he'd probably get really tired of me complaining about ambush spawns over and over and over again in a very quick amount of time. But here we go. The worst case of it happens in this map. Generally, Three Houses designs many of its chapters around area-based triggers, i.e., reach a certain area, and the chapter's narrative will progress by some story event or in reinforcements. The notoriety behind the inconsistent use of these area-based reinforcements is starting to become the bane of my existence. Maddening has no rhyme or reason when it comes to what is an ambush spawn and what won't be. I think the most blatant examples of this inconsistency is with the Great Bridge of Mirrodin. The Gloucester guys literally warp right behind you, but don't move until the next turn, whereas the area reinforcements in Gronder are ambush spawns, except sometimes they're not, and I'll get to that in a second. The reinforcements that occur in Chapter 15 and 16 are ambush spawns, but are at least at a distance enough where you can telegraph how they'll affect you and when they do appear. We're using Warp or Stride to enter the fortress with the archer in it rewards an unsuspecting player with an unavoidable ambush. In Gronder, this is restrictive, encourages turtling, and playing it safe. The ballista in the center of the map halts forward progress and you're encouraged to destroy it. If you leave it hanging, it has built-in critical hit, which is needlessly high and makes targets prone to get critted, whether or not their luck is high. Maybe the idea, well, let's just kill the archer. And that swims in your mind. Except you have to be careful about that because walking on the stairs of the fortress, you trigger Dimitri's ambush reinforcements right behind you. It's also quite frustrating because even if you move your squishiest units past that tiny little bridge and have a tank choke it, one of the paladins has pass, which would be a clever counter, but in this case, it's bullshit. The solution? Well, at least for me in my first playthrough, it meant just ignoring the center and pushing the opposite direction of Edelgard. By going this way, I got to deal with the Blue Lions team first, which is so pathetically easy to deal with because they're all nearly unmounted, have nobody with pass, and march almost single-filed to their death. I would say this is a perfect example of how a single design choice can ruin a chapter's experience. They walk over being obstructed by forest terrain and die like it's nothing. You could even choke this point and nothing would happen. Okay, but what about an alternate scenario? Say you safely want to handle this ballista, since stepping on the hill rewards you with 3 paladins ready to shit on whoever they want. And not stepping on the hill and putting your units at risk to get critted creates annoying detours. Your best option is siege toming that archer. If you have Dorothea or Hilda as magic users with A, you can get bolting, or A+ with Hanneman with meteor, because otherwise, good luck not triggering that ambush. But say you did in fact take care of that archer early. No problem, right? Just walk alongside the fortress and carry on. Even better, you take care of the fortress from a distance with a siege tome, and you've dealt with the past paladin, and now you're good from the reinforcements. Dimitri's on the move now. But while he's moving into you, you get some time to prepare. All is good, right? Well, here's where my second problem with this chapter occurs. The AI looks like it's going to prioritize you until it doesn't prioritize you. This is gameplay from another run. You'll notice that my units are significantly higher leveled, but that's because I save edited back from the endgame to this chapter to try some alternative strategies. My inflated levels don't make a difference as all units one-hit KO each other because this is Three Houses and you can do that. Another way to really easily cheese this map is just letting the kingdom get kited since no one has pass and they all need to walk through forested terrain which clumps them all together. The combination of being footlocked and having low movement basically makes it so they all march single file while getting distracted by Petra's force and the other knights alongside her, until they wither away and Dimitri is left standing, half his health being gone, and also on fire. Thrilling chapter. So the AI for that left side, and in this case the kingdom, will always beeline it for Byleth, but they aren't committed to Byleth. You can just stand there and wait for these idiots to beat each other up and pop in every now and then and kill the stragglers. This is the most turtley and defensive I've played in the game so far, which is strange because this is a defeat boss map, not a defend map. Edelgard's army is a complete non-threat because after you beat Hubert and Petra, the rest just kind of stand there waiting for you to attack them. You kill Hubert, Petra goes after you, but so does Dimitri, and they'll fight each other. There's no real incentive to get into the fray with these armies at all. Unlike School Gronder, you were incentivized to kill more units because it meant you get a Blessed Lance. Also, unlike School Gronder, army morale, aka stats boosting after a kill, isn't here. Those were two pretty fun and novel ideas that provided incentives to push ahead. That's not here, and I'm really wishing it was. Definitely would have helped make this chapter feel more tense. Third parties, whether they are NPCs or entirely third factions that can attack the player and the enemy, are actually really hard to balance properly. Too little impact and they seem like worthless additions, and too much impact and they overstay their welcome and run the risk of disengaging the experience. At worst, this chapter finds random and unfair ways to punish the player for thinking ahead and neutralizing threats. At least with Mirrodin, you were countered by enemies who gave you a chance to breathe. The Kingdom AI is stupid in two ways. One, they're dedicated to Byleth, but they can be kited really easily. And two, they're footlocked, making them really easy to just not bother with and have them all grouped together and kill them all, making this at best a very boring map that rewards you for playing really defensively in a non-defense map. Here are some ideas that I came up with that potentially could make this chapter feel more engaging and incentivizing to not turtle. I say scrap the Lorens and Ash enemy recruitment chapters and place those two and someone else from Black Eagles in this map, maybe Dorothea or something. That could have the potential to provide a great incentive to actually try to beat the armies and engage with them directly. If you're too slow, that third army might kill your precious recruitable ally. Because the enemies want to duke it out and will kill each other, you can make this a race against the AI. If I remember correctly, the fog plot device, I guess, is supposed to add confusion to who is fighting who, but you could also work this into the gameplay by punishing the player for taking too long to fight Edelgard by setting a turn counter and turning fog on after an excessive amount of time, and that could be a feature only on Maddening. As for ambush spawns, did you know that you can trigger these reinforcements if you just attack Dimitri first? It's kind of hard to see because most people don't try to warp or kill Dimitri first, but it's actually something you can do. If you attack Dimitri, those reinforcements occur. So these reinforcements occur in two different ways, the first being an ambush spawn on the kingdom phase, and the second being the second you attack Dimitri, making those spawns appear on the exact same turn you're on. Why not just make those spawns trigger once the fortress is entered in the same way that if you attack Dimitri, those reinforcements come along too? The likelihood of still being able to act even with those reinforcements appearing is a lot more likely and fair than just ambushing the player out of nowhere. We're just taking how these reinforcements operate and just making them universal throughout the entire chapter in a challenging yet fair way. And that way, Maddening can keep its annoying past paladin without bullshitting me. I was just having no fun with this chapter on Maddening. For that reason, I'm giving this map a D. As far as the story goes, I actually do like it. To me, this setting of the three lords clashing together makes the most sense in this route. Edelgard is out here trying to intercept Claude, and Dimitri is in mega unhinged kill Edelgard mode, so in my opinion, it would be unreasonable to think that he'd negotiate with Claude, to put it really simply. The ending cutscene was my favorite part. They really make Fort Mercius sound like this massive challenge. If it takes 3 times the amount of soldiers to succeed in a frontal assault, then this is setting up to be a big brain strategist defining moment for Claude. I also like how Hilda's idea gets shot down by Leone, but Claude gets inspired by it. There is a sense of urgency with the story and the upcoming battle. Mercius is the next chapter to review, and I'm not exactly super thrilled by it either, but it's definitely not as bad as this one. I understand that this is my first negative review of a chapter in the game so far, so I'll reiterate that this review series, whether each take is positive or not, should be taken with a grain of salt, as everyone's experience is different. With that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.